Yo, what's going on, man? It's Jason Capital here, and welcome back to the next module inside the Success Installation System. So, we have the third cause of success here, the third of 6 causes, and that is the cause of the self-image. Okay? Now, the first person to discover the self-image was Dr. Maxwell Maltz. He was originally a plastic surgeon turned crazy person psychologist who actually discovered something truly, truly remarkable for our own personal development and success. And he said this, he said, the self-image is the key to human personality and human behavior. You change the self-image and you change the personality and you change the behavior. So we could, instead of saying self-image, we could say change the way someone sees themselves, like they see themselves as this kind of person, and you change the personality, you change the behavior. You take a guy who isn't good with girls and then you can magically change his self-image to be like a guy who all girls want to hook up with, and I push them away because I have so many options. I'm just overwhelmed. His personality changes and his behavior changes. So the guy who's talking to girls who couldn't get any girls, he's talking to girls. He thinks everything they're saying and doing to him, he perceives that stuff as, basically what we're doing is we're constantly funneling all the information we're getting from the outside world to back up our self-image. If he sees himself as a guy who sucks with girls, then a girl saying, no, I can't go on a date with you, just further it solidifies that self-image that girls don't like me. But if he already saw himself as a guy that girls like, and he says, hey, do you want to go on this date? And she says, no, I don't. The guy who knows that girls love him, he doesn't think, oh, that's proof she doesn't like me. He goes, oh, that's proof she's playing hard to get. Let me tease her a little bit, and then she'll say yes. Okay? You change the self-image, you change the personality and behavior. So here's another quote from Maxwell Maltz. He says, if one's self-image is nourished on past successes, it will be pleasant. Okay? Really successful people only remember the good things that happen in their life, and they literally, it's like eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. They can't remember the bad shit. I used to play basketball. I would have games where, let's say I shot 6 for 12 on 3-pointers. I could not remember my misses. I couldn't do it because I trained myself only to remember my past successes, okay? And remember that quote from when I tell you in a second about how Kobe Bryant only counts his makes and he forgets about his misses. So, problem is with people is they go, well, self-image, like how I'm like, what do you mean I can change that? Like, that's who I am. They've identified with a certain self-image when maybe that self-image isn't really who they are. So I'm sorry, okay, do it at home, but I'm gonna have to break your self-image right now, all right? So I want to close your eyes for a second, if you would be so kind, and I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, okay? What kind of person do you think you realistically are? Why do you believe that you are that kind of person? What made you believe that you're that kind of person? Is it the kind of person your parents told you were? Is it the kind of person that your friends have told you are or have taught you that you are? Was it a comment made by maybe a teacher when you were younger? I'm going to tell you a quick story from a Maxwell Maltz book, but there was a kid who sucked at math. He was the worst in his class at math because in the year before, in the grade before, a teacher had told him, you suck at math. And because he'd gotten that comment, he believed that's who he was. He was the kind of person who just couldn't do math. So when he got to the next grade, he failed every single test. Okay, but teacher realized this in the next year, changed that around, explained to him, no, she didn't mean you suck at math. She meant you're really good at math. And she said it in some really way, but she made him think, you're really good at math, okay? And he literally went from F's to A's overnight because his self-image changed, because he realized, oh wait, I'm not the kind of person who sucks at math. I'm the kind of person who's really good at math. Therefore, I get A's, okay? So let's keep going. What if any limitations that you currently perceive about yourself are simply based on some offhand comment that someone made to you years ago, okay? I'm going to give you a really personal example right now, but I still remember when I was in 6th grade, I went to the mall with my buddy Aaron, who's my best friend at the time. We went to the mall, we're walking around, and that was like the time where we're like first hooking up with girls, like ever, right? And he said to me, I'll never forget this question, I don't know why he asked me that, but he was like, hey Jason, like, at what age do you think that you're going to get your first blowjob? Like, what age do you think you're going to be really comfortable getting blowjobs? And off the top of my head, for some reason, my self-image was like, 10th grade. I don't know. I feel like 10th grade, I'll start getting head. And he in his mind, he was like, no. He's like, I'm going to get 7th grade, I think. I feel like 7th grade sounds good to me. And it was just like a passing thing. I don't even know if he would remember it if I asked him about it today. But I did, okay? And as the future happened, he ended up, I'll never forget, he became the most popular kid in 7th grade because he got head in 7th grade. And I didn't start hooking up with girls till much later, right? And what if I had said different, right? Now I'm this like well-known dating coach, right? And I teach guys all around the world how to fuck chicks, right? But what if I had said something different? Would I have started hooking up with girls when I was younger? Would that have made me not as interested in game later on in my life? Would I not be here, right? Like, okay, so you have to understand, like, my self-image was I get blowjobs when I'm in 10th grade now, and it actually predicted the future. My self-image created my behavior. So how do you know? Like, we can go back to these comments that people gave you when younger. How do you know, like, even now, even today, even right now, wherever you were before you started watching this, how do you know that your interpretations of how the store girl at CVS looked at you is actually what she was thinking? How do you know that? Because if she looked at you and you thought that she wasn't attracted to you, how do you know that? What if that's how she shows guys her attraction, and you knew that she was attracted to you? Would that make you think that girls are more attracted to you in general? Like, how do you know your interpretations of those things or those looks are true, right? What if you were in a bad mood when you first interpreted it? When you're at CVS, you're checking out, that girl looks at you. What if you're in a really poor state or a really bad mood? You're not going to see her response as positive. You're probably going to see it as negative because you're feeling negative, right? What if you had seen it as positive? Would that have changed your whole day, which would change your self-image over time? And what if you didn't hear the whole story of someone talking about you? What if they were high or drunk or on Xanax or something you don't even know, right? You didn't know, maybe you didn't know what they were saying. Maybe they didn't mean what they said. Maybe they meant something else. It just came out the wrong way. What if they were only saying something positive or negative about you because they felt small and they were trying to make themselves feel bigger? Okay, what if this was true for every comment someone's made about you your whole life? What if every comment someone's made about you was simply because they were trying to make themselves feel bigger? And you've taken that to mean who you actually are. What if none of that's true at all? What if they woke up in a bad mood because they ate a whole fucking pizza with pepperoni the night before? Okay, what if, the picture of yourself is false in certain areas because of comments made by other people or how you interpreted them? You don't even know if they're true. But because you interpret them that way to mean that's the kind of person you are, and you've been acting as if that was true. I know that's a whole fucking psychological mindfuck, okay? That's the reason for that, because I want you to understand that who you think you are in certain parts of you, it's not necessarily true. You might actually be really fucking good with girls. You might actually be destined for fucking greatness, but maybe someone made a comment to you when you were a kid and you didn't know, okay? So if acting like it makes it true, if someone had told you when you were younger that you were destined for greatness, and then you started acting like it, that makes it true. That's how we are, right? So if acting like it makes it true, could you possibly, okay, you don't have to, just could you possibly change your self-image by acting and thinking as if this new one that you're just going to try out for a second, if it were true, just for a little while, just test it out, just to prove that acting like it makes it true. Could you possibly change your self-image just simply by acting and thinking as if the new one were true also? Would it be just as true? Okay, the truth is, through all that mind-fucking, truth is your self-image is a very malleable concept. All right, we can change your self-image very easily whenever we want. Okay, I remember the first time I read Psycho-Cybernetics, which is a great fucking book you should probably read, because one of my mentors told me he reads it every 6 months, and in that book, one of the biggest realizations I had was everything that you do, every emotion, every thought you have, everything you believe about yourself can simply be traced back, okay? Because you see yourself as just that kind of person who, whatever. That is your self-image, okay? Because you see yourself as the kind of person who drinks but doesn't do drugs, you drink and you don't do drugs. Because you see yourself as the kind of person who's never breaks the rule, you never do anything dangerous or adventurous. Because you see yourself as the kind of person who always eats healthy, when you go out to eat with friends and they order French fries, you get the salad. Okay, because that's how you see yourself. And how you see yourself determines everything you do. It is all our actions and emotions are consistent with our self-image. Okay, so I'm going to tell you straight up right now, I still think you have absolutely no idea how great you can be. I still think I have absolutely no idea how great I can be. I think I have absolutely no idea how great my friend Ryan could be. You're going to see him soon, right? My good friend from the Handsome Guy Secrets brand, right? I don't think he knows. I don't think any of these people know. I think everyone is so much greater than they have no idea. Okay, I think you still have no idea. Okay, a great example of this, I remember a couple years ago, this was like when I was first understanding the self-image thing and how it affected not just my success, but like my game with girls, like my ability to flirt with girls. Because I saw myself as the kind of person who hot girls chase after, I remember I'm at a club, I'm talking with this, of course I call her a troublemaker, but she's the bottle service girl, and she asks where I'm from, and I tell her, and she goes on and on about how amazing it is. She's like, oh my God, I heard that place, it's amazing, I want to visit, blah, 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 and I don't even think about it, but because I'm the kind of guy that girls chase after, I go to myself and I say to her, I'm like, are you seriously, like, are you trying to invite yourself over already? Like, we just met, I don't know you, like, chill. Like, that was my response, okay? Simply because I saw myself as the kind of person who hot girls chase after. If a guy who saw himself as a guy that doesn't get hot girls, and she was saying all those amazing things about his city, he would have thought, and that line would have never occurred to him. He would have just been like, oh yeah, you should really check out the aquarium. It's wonderful. The dolphins, they sparkle in the sun. Like some bullshit like that. Okay? But because all your actions and emotions are consistent with your self-image. Okay, so, imagine if you saw yourself like that permanently. If you saw yourself like a guy who hot girls chase after, imagine what your life would be like if you saw yourself like that all the time. Imagine if you saw yourself as the kind of person who, whatever it is you want, but you saw yourself like that all the time, with all people, with everyone, everywhere you go. Imagine if you saw yourself as, for whatever reason, you're just the kind of person who's destined to be the best at whatever they do. Imagine if you saw yourself as someone who always fights back and always secures victory. Imagine if you saw yourself as someone who's constantly building his personal value every day. Okay, all the things you want to make happen in your life, if you could just see yourself as the kind of person who does those things, you will do them. Okay, 100%. I love this quote from Kobe Bryant. I fucking love Kobe Bryant, all right? One of his quotes that he says all the time is, I'm chasing perfection. Okay? What is he implying about his self-image? Oh, we can do this anyone quotes to read into their self-image. What is he saying about himself there? He says, I'm chasing perfection. Well, what he's implying is, I'm the kind of person who doesn't fucking stop until I'm as close to perfection as humanly possible. Another quote he says, I can't relate to lazy people. We don't speak the same language. I don't understand you. I don't want to understand you. What is he implying about his self-image there? I am the furthest person from lazy in the world. I will outwork anybody until I'm fucking perfect and have more NBA championships than Michael Jordan or whatever it is, right? And just a fun fact I mentioned before, Kobe Bryant only counts shots made in practice. Okay, remember I said before, Maxwell Maltz said that, I'll show you right here. If one's self-image is nourished on past successes, it will be pleasant. If we only focus on the good things of our past and we just we're kind to ourselves and we let ourselves forget the things that aren't good. If we only remember the good shit, we're going to have a really good image of ourselves. Okay, he only makes that's called selective memory. Here's Donald Trump. He said, I like thinking big. If you're going to be thinking anything, you may as well think big. What is he saying about his self-image there? He's saying, I'm the kind of person who, for whatever reason, I just like to think really fucking big for myself. Okay, and you can, again, do this anyone quotes to find out. So that's his self-image. I'm the kind of person who, for whatever reason, I just like to think really fucking big. I don't really care about what people think or the wins or losses or failures. I like to think big, okay? So how do you change your self-image? I think I've broken it somewhat. The first step, of course, is accepting that who you think you are is not necessarily who you are, okay? Who you think you are, it's not necessarily who you are. It can be changed. What if one person, when they made a comment to you when you were younger, like that you are really bad at something, what if they had said you were really good at that thing? Well, today you probably think you're really good at it, and your actions and emotions would reflect that. This self-image thing can change instantly with a single comment from someone else or comments from ourselves. So here are all the various tools that one might use to change their self-image to see themselves as the kind of person who they want to be seen as. So, of course, we have the default setting relationship. Okay, so remember, if you're in a good state all the time, if you put yourself in a positive, aggressive state all day long, and that becomes your default setting, well, if you feel really good all the time, you're going to see yourself as someone who feels really good all the time and does really good all the time. That's number one. We have looping also, of course, and I do this with journals. Okay, I think we kind of did this at the beginning. If you remember when we figured out your 90-day vision, we said, write down the three things, write down that, imagine yourself, as the person who has achieved these three things, and then write down as if you have achieved them like that you did. So if one of those things was like, I weigh 188 pounds and I have 10% body fat. Well, if 90 days that's your goal, when you write it down, you start doing it as the self-image. You say, as you literally write in your journal every single day, but you can simply say, I'm just the kind of person who weighs 188 pounds and has 10% body fat. You just write it down as if you already did it. You loop it. You write it down 10 times if you want to ingrain it there deeper in your subconscious, okay? But that shit works. Character modeling is another great way, okay? So, for instance, when I wanted to get really good at game, when I first started, I looked at a guy named Tony Stark. Maybe you've heard of him. He was an Iron Man. He's a fucking badass. But he's got sick game. He deals with people really well. And I was like, you know what? I wish I saw myself a little bit like Tony Stark sees himself. I don't want to be everything because he's kind of got some weird eccentricities, but I want part of that. So I would just, I'd go out at night, and for 10 minutes, I would just be like, fuck it, I'm going to be Tony Stark right now. I'm not Jason Capital anymore. Tony Stark. And eventually, okay, you act like him for a little bit, show that to the world. The world tells you, the positive responses. Like I say the same line he does, I get the same response from the girl he did. And it kind of loops back in, and you go, oh shit, I can add that. That's part of my repertoire now. I can be like that. I can be the kind of guy who can game like Tony Stark. And then, of course, zooming in and temporary living on just one positive response. Okay? All a man needs to feed himself a lifetime of success is one positive response to build his castle on. So Kobe Bryant, if he's missed 1,000,000 shots, but he only focused on that one that he made, he can just remember that one. He can forget the rest. He can just remember that one, and he can build from that. If you're a guy who got rejected by 99 girls, but one of them fucking loved you, you can just remember that one, and you can use the nourishment of that positive memory to build the rest of your self-image on, okay? Emerson said it. The creation of 1,000 forests is one acorn. If you've had every fucking rejection, every failure possible in your life, which, by the way, you haven't, okay? Colonel Sanders got rejected 1,009 times before the 1,010th person said, you know what, I like this chicken recipe. I'm going to invest in you. We're going to build this company, okay? You haven't been rejected 1,009 times, okay? Jerry Weintraub, who you should probably read his book, by the way, he's one of the biggest names in Hollywood. He's kind of retiring now. He's worked for 50 years in the business. When he was like 1966 or something, he wanted to take Elvis Presley out on the road, okay? And he's never taken anyone out on tour before. It's not what he does. Calls up Elvis's manager, and he goes, I want to take Elvis out on the road. I'm willing to do this, this, and this. The guy goes, I don't know who the fuck you are. Hangs up. Does it again the next day. Guy hangs up. Does it for 365 days straight. Hears no every single day. 366th day, decides, fuck it, I did it for a year. I'm just done. Okay? The guy calls him back at 11 in the morning and says, what the fuck? You didn't call me today. What's going on? Told him I kind of thought it wasn't going to work. He goes, no, come to Vegas now. You're going to do this. You're going to take Elvis on the road. And got his yes. Okay? You have not had your secret chicken recipe rejected 1,009 times. You haven't heard 365 no's. If those guys could take all that rejection but only focus on even the few successes in their life and just focus on those and feed themselves on those, then you can certainly find the positive memories and images in your life to only feed yourself on and just delete the rest. Okay. Also, you can use questions. Okay. I love to use questions. Simply ask yourself at a certain point, like when you're trying to make a decision, if I loved myself truly and deeply, what would I do right now? Hypothetically, okay? And then the answer your brain gives you kind of puts you in a better state, and you can start acting like the type of person you want to see yourself as. Or for instance, a lot of time, guys who aren't that good with girls, when I talk to them, I tell them, dude, ask yourself this, and you're trying to figure out what to do. If 100 girls were calling, trying to fuck me right now, all 100, my phones are ringing everywhere, how would you act with this one girl? Would you get super attached to her? Would you get needy? Would you get desperate? Would you veer off your path in life for her? Or if you had 100 girls calling you, how would you feel and how would you act? Okay, and you can kind of put yourself back into that correct, that positive, aggressive self-image, the one you want to be in. Selective memory, we talked about that. Dressing awesome, of course. You dress awesome, you can see yourself as awesome. Those things are really connected. Getting an amazing source of inspiration in your environment who sees you only for your best. Remember that teacher who told that kid that he sucked at math? Bitch, right? That was obviously detrimental to his self-image. But the next year, he got another teacher who said, you know what, you're fucking amazing at math, you're great at it. He got an amazing source of inspiration in his environment, up close and personal, who saw him at his best, and that built him up, okay? It's not living in some false reality if you just want to believe the best things about yourself, okay? It's called being positive, and all the most successful people in the world do it constantly, okay? We talked about the self-image affirmation journaling, like I'm just the kind of person who weighs 188 pounds at 10% body fat. That's just who I am. And you base all your decisions and actions and emotions off of that. Again, start with one or two to kind of build up your self-image. I like the looping. I like the affirmational journaling. Those are like the big ones for me. But the truth is, and I'll tell you this, we've already talked about standards and we talked about default setting. And if you will allow it, simply ramp up your standards, your default setting, and you continue to take the actions. Okay, the self-image thing kind of comes naturally, okay? If you just focus on your standards, you focus on your mission, focus on feeling really good all the time, eventually you do it long enough, you get the momentum, the self-image, the powerful, successful self-image will just begin to happen naturally. So, that is the third cause of success. I'll see you in the next one.